Welcome back to the Toffee Booze, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you an Everton news 24/7 for Wednesday, the 30th of October. So let's get straight into it with today's headline news, and it's surrounding Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's hinted at a potential future with Everton with some comments made to the Liverpool Echo in a recent interview this week. And he's talked about basically becoming Everton's top goal scorer in the Premier League. I think that's been an ambition of his for a long time since he's been at Everton. Obviously, he is third in that leaderboard at the moment after Romelu Lukaku. And he does only need 13 goals to do so, but he has actually hinted at potential future at Everton, saying that it'd be a very, very big achievement for him to reach that milestone and overtake Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, it's interesting that he's speaking quite freely about his future, and he's speaking quite openly about his contract talks and could he potentially stay at Everton. I think if he was to leave, I think he probably would have just brushed it all under the carpet by now. So I think there's definitely a little bit of him that wants to stay. Maybe he's seeing about a potential project with the Freaking Group. Will Sean Dyche be here beyond the summer? I think maybe he's holding out for that. But it's definitely interesting that he is coming out and making these comments and making these targets to become Everton's top Premier League goal scorer. So obviously at his current rate of form and his current scoring in front of goal. I don't think he's going to reach it this season. So that maybe does hint at a potential future even more. But I do think it's interesting that he is being quite open about this and making these kind of comments. So I think we've just got to see what happens, see what unfolds. Obviously, the January transfer window is fast approaching now. So whether he has an offer to move abroad or move to another team in the Premier League, it does remain to be seen. But I think it's definitely interesting that these comments are being made by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So let's just see how that one pans out. But we'll stick to on the pitch matters. And Graham Bailey of TBR Football, he's reported that Seamus Coleman, Ashley Young, and Michael Keane are the three main players that will not stay beyond their contracts expiring this summer at Everton. I think this is to be expected, really. Obviously, Seamus Coleman and Ashley Young, they are coming towards the end of their careers now. I think Ashley Young will be 40 by the time he signs a new contract. I think the 9th of July is his birthday. So if he was to sign a new contract at Everton, he would be 40. So I do think this one is to probably be expected. Obviously, we've known for a long time that Seamus Coleman isn't the quickest anymore. He's maybe lost that yard of pace and that yard of fitness that he once had. Obviously, he's been such a good servant for Seamus Coleman, hasn't he? But if he was to leave at the end of the season, we'd have no complaints. He's done he's done his time at Everton. He's really fought for the badge in every single way. So we just have to wish him well for the future. But Michael Keane's an interesting one because obviously a lot of people have been saying that Michael Keane has been in very good form this season, along with Ashley Young. But I think that the age thing for Michael Keane is on his side. He's probably reaching that prime of his career now. So I think it is an interesting one. Obviously, if a team in the Premier League is to get him on a free transfer, I do think it'd be a decent bit of business. But for us, does Michael Keane maybe serve a purpose beyond his current contract? I'm not so sure. Obviously, he's in quite a decent, rich vein of form now at the moment. But obviously, we know what kind of defender he can be sometimes. He just get a little bit nervy. So will he sign a new contract? I don't think so. So I think this is probably to be expected as well. This news by Graham Bailey and yeah, so we'll stick with Bailey's report as well. And he said that Everton will have a new manager beyond next summer, with Sean Dyche not being offered a new deal and being shown the door. Again, I think this is to be expected. Obviously, with new ownership coming in imminently, I think they'll probably want to change a direction. They'll want a little bit of a different project, and I don't think Dyche offers that, unfortunately. I think Dyche has probably reached the ceiling now as Everton manager. Obviously, he's kept us in the Premier League for 2 seasons, which we will always thank him for because we were in dire straits, especially when he came into the job. We were in dire straits, and 18 months on from that, we look to be pretty safe in the Premier League. So I think we probably just have to wish Dyche well and move him on at the end of the season. Obviously, we know that the start of this season was unacceptable, really. But we didn't get enough points on the board, and Dyche is probably to blame for a lot of that. But I think we probably have to just come to peace and come to accept that Dyche will be here come the last game at Goodison Park, and we probably will just have to move him on at the end of the summer and then start afresh in the summer with the Freaking Group with a new just a new board, a fresh set of ideas, and go from there. But I do think it will be the right call not to offer Dyche a new contract. But yeah, I think it's time for a reset. But we'll move to off the pitch matters now. That's enough about talking about on the pitch. And it's surrounding Bramley Moore, this news. And it's been announced by the club this week about how the season ticket migration process will work from Goodison Park to Bramley Moore. Obviously, as a season ticket holder myself, I was waiting for this news. I had to read through a lot of it because I think a lot of people were quite confused of how it's working and and the criteria that they're going to be used for the priority windows is your tenure of your season tickets. So that's obviously how long you've had your season ticket, and I think it is capped at 23 years. So I think that probably a lot of questions will be asked about it, especially in terms of obviously if your dad or your uncle has gone to the football a lot longer than you, and then obviously you got to a match going age and got your season ticket. Obviously, there's going to be an imbalance there because they've had their season tickets longer. That's certainly my situation of it. So I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, there's going to be more frequently asked questions coming out in the coming weeks and months, and Everton will probably have to do their best to answer that. But I do think that a little bit more clarity does need to be done. But I think there's definitely worse ways to migrate the season ticket process, and obviously such an amazing stadium. There's going to be so many good seats in that house, so I think we probably have to take it with a positive spring in our step, and maybe just say this is probably the best way of doing it. I've seen a few different ways of doing it, but I think this is probably the best way of doing it. So I think we've just got to see what happens and see how that unfolds. But finally, I'll move to the report of Matt Slater of The Athletic, and he's reported that the Freaking Group will look to increase the footprint of Everton around Bramley Moore by purchasing neighbouring docklands to increase entertainment to the area. I think this is definitely something that's positive. I think the Freaking Group they know what they're doing in terms of business. So I think if they were to purchase neighbouring docklands and renovate the area, I think it would only do well for Everton Football Club. Obviously, you look at places like Manchester City, they've got a real campus feel around the Etihad, obviously with Co-op Live and different venues around there. And I know the women's stadium is in the vicinity of the Etihad, so I think creating a campus-like feel and regenerating the Docklands at Everton will be a massive thing, and it would just create a really good brand at Everton Football Club. But yeah, that's all for today's news. Let me know your thoughts on obviously the Bramley Moore news, which I just mentioned, but also the on the pitch matters of Ashley Young, Michael Keane, and Seamus Coleman. Do you think they'll stay beyond that, or do you think they'll be moved on? And also the Dominic Calvert-Lewin rumours and his comments in the interview. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.